Hey guys, it's Jenny from Lido Loca, and this is all the food that I ate on the Caribbean Princess. So we cruised on the Caribbean Princess July of 2018, and here's a recap of the food that I ate on the Caribbean Princess. Alright, so when we got on the ship, we went up to the buffet, and here I'll tell you what, that sandwich in the background was fantastic. The bread was just like a nice Italian bread with some great cold cuts. And then that little pie looking thing in the front, that was real good. That was a little dessert. It was good. Then we had a little lunch. Well, maybe this was later up in the day. And there's some mashed potatoes and asparagus. I tell you what, that asparagus was fantastic. And as you can see in the background there was the iced tea. It was unsweetened. It was okay. Not that southern iced tea that everybody enjoys. And that beef was like a Chinese beef. It was really good as well. Maybe it was like a teriyaki or something like that. But yeah, the food was good. I don't really remember having to use any salt on that, so that was good. And there is a little piece of lasagna over there. I remember tasting it and it just was not good, so that stayed on the plate. Then that evening, we did go to the main dining room, the island dining room, and that's a picture of the rolls and the little butter balls that they brought to the table. Their rolls were really fantastic. Then we moved into some shrimp cocktail, which is my favorite when I'm on a cruise line. That was real good. And then I had, it was an in-between the entree, and this was like a sherry, so like this juice was sherry and the melons and the mint. It was really good. The melon, it really didn't have an overwhelming taste of sherry, but just enough that it was delightful. Then that evening in the main dining room, I had some beef and, a baked potato and the corn. Of course, I don't eat the tomatoes, so I think that Tony may have taken that over. But yeah, it was real good. The first day of food, nice service in the main dining room. The piece of beef was fantastic. And then I followed up that meal with Princess's famous Love Boat dessert, and guys, this was wonderful. So it just was very delicate. So the heart-shaped was like a chocolate mousse, and then that little red spot was some raspberry and with fresh whipped cream, and just the mixture of all of the tastes it just really was delightful. So yeah, if you're on the Princess, definitely do try that dessert out. And of course, Tony and I like to have a little ice cream. This was some almond, instead of like pecan, it was, butter pecan, it was butter almond. And it was a little different. It was good. Their ice cream was very creamy. It was high quality ice cream. It was good. And then we probably went to see a show or went to the casino. And, we like to have a little pizza at night. So we did visit their pizzeria about 10 o'clock at night. So that was good as well. Their pizza, I thought, was very good. It was, the triangle, and their crust was good. It was a nice piece of pizza. All right, so then the next morning, we did have breakfast in the MDR. And here's a little picture of some bacon and a croissant. And, their bacon was really good. I like it crispy and cooked very well. And it just was cooked to my liking, which was nice. And their croissants their breads were really good throughout the entire ship, actually. All right, and then for lunch that day, we had some lunch in the pub, the English pub, which, you know, stays in the grill, in the steakhouse. But we did have some, I had some shrimp and chips, as they would call it. And then I also did try the Scottish egg. And you know, the Scottish egg was just really great. I never had heard of such a thing. And it was really good. So it was like an egg wrapped in some pork and then deep fried. But yeah, it was very good. It was exciting to try those different things. And then at the English pub for the dessert, I want to think that was, I can't really remember what it was. I know that it did have like a alcohol taste in it, and you know, maybe Tony explain more in his, I'm sure. Then we did go up to the buffet because they did have the soups and the ramen noodle that you can, you know, put your proteins and your liquid in. So we did enjoy that. That was very good. And of course we followed it up with some sweets. And, you know, Tony and I split that plate, and we just, you know, we split whatever was there. I don't really like the key lime pie. I do remember having a little bite of it. It was tasty. Pecan and the chocolate cookie and the eclair, that was all delightful as well. Then what we did, we probably just ran around the ship, and then probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock, we went to the International Cafe, and oh no, this is tea time. So at 3 o'clock we did go to tea time, and this is the little delightful things that they did serve at tea time. The fruit tart was wonderful. The little sandwiches were good, but the scones really just not, you know, they nailed it with the fresh cream and the jam. It was lovely. One of those little sandwiches, now that I remember, was tuna fish, and it was like on a cheese roll. It was very good. That evening we went to Steamers, and so for appetizer they had a couple of different choices. I chose to have the loaded baked potato soup, and it was delightful. Then in Steamers we did get the steamer. I forget what it's called now. But I did get the steamer. It did come with the crab legs, and we added in the lobster, and you know what? It was wonderful. So if you ever do get on the Princess Cruise Lines, do check them out, because that was a really great meal. And then what they served there, and this is an upcharge restaurant, what they served there for dessert was like a decomposed strawberry shortcake, and it was wonderful. Okay, so now we're into day 3 of the cruise, and this is just breakfast, some bacon and a roll. And then I did try I think you guys call it Metamucil or oatmeal, as I call it. But yeah, it was, I didn't really care for it. So, but I did try it. And then for lunch, of course, I saw the lovely Italian sandwiches up at the buffet. So we did try that. And then there's also a Cuban that was there, and it was really lovely. And then, of course, you know, a little chocolate cake. That night in dinner, we did have dinner at the MDR. This first thing that I had was really lovely. Again, it was in like a sherry or some kind of alcohol, but it had mango and, you know, all these exotic little fruits, and it was really very refreshing and good. Here's a soup. It was like a minestrone kind of beef soup. It was good. And then that evening I did have, you know, some steak and some shrimp. And then there was some little potatoes and carrots on the side, and that was a really lovely meal. Some surf and turf. And of course for dinner we had a little chocolate cup, and that actually came from the International Cafe. And here's also a picture of Tony and I really liked this. It was like a pistachio kind of cheesecake, or actually it was like kind of like a pistachio flan. It was really delicious. It was like flan, graham, and then pistachio at the bottom. It was a delightful little piece of sweet. All right, so the next day, so that I'm going to count as our fourth day out on the Caribbean Princess. And this was just a hug. You know, I just picked a little bit of everything. The French toast was delicious. Of course, you know, their eggs were really delightful. Not overcooked, not undercooked. And of course, some toast. And then that day, what we did, because we were in Roatan, we did have a burger from the Salty Dog, and I thought it was wonderful. What's nice about the Salty Dog, you get to pick your different cheeses that you want, and I always like a cheddar on my hamburger.
Roatan!
Roatan. And then of course we did run down and at the same time get a slice of pizza and like a little Sicilian with a meatball on it. That was lovely as well. So that was about noon, and then about 3:45 we were getting a little hungry, so we did run down to the International Cafe, and I got a tuna fish sandwich, which was just lovely, and this shrimp salad that was just wonderful. So it was chilled shrimp that were peeled, and it had cilantro and some onion. It was just delicious. And then that evening we did go to the MDR. Of course, I love to start it out with the shrimp cocktail again. I think I'm kind of shrimped out, but I did eat a lot of shrimp on this cruise. And then they also had some sorbet to clean the palate, and that was lovely as well. Very refreshing, and did its job. That evening I did have a wonderful piece of pork chop. It did come with, you could see a little apples and some broccoli. But yeah, that was a great meal. And then that evening for dessert at the MDR was just like a little piece of chocolate heaven. It had all the different chocolates that you would like. It had the gulache. It had you know, some like chocolate pudding, and of course the raspberry on there, and that's always a nice mix of chocolate and raspberry. And then for some reason they were giving out little cookies. They were real tiny. They were good. They were soft. Yeah, so that was our dinner in the MDR. And then, you know, we didn't, for July 4th, we were in Belize, and this is my lunch. I had, so Tony and I went to the buffet, and I had a chicken salad sandwich. It was really nice up on their buffets. You can either get a wrap or a sandwich, but I did like that they had it wrapped up so that you knew that nobody touched it. And of course there's some mashed potatoes and corn, and of course our favorite cheese. And then I followed it up with some chocolate pudding. And then for that evening we did eat at Planks, and that is an upcharge restaurant as well. And there you see a loaded baked potato soup. That was really very good. And then that is a mixture of 4 different meats and sides, and that Tony and I shared that platter. And on there's kibasi. We got some of the barbecue meatballs, which was good. We had pulled pork. Yeah, it was really very good. So at Planks, you have the choice of getting 4 meats, and they have 6 different offers that you can have. We also had the barbecue ribs on that as well. And then for dessert at Planks, they have 2 choices, and I chose, of course, to get chocolate and marshmallow, and those little pecans were roasted. They were just really, it was really very elegant. I did love how they put it, you know, on the trays. It was very good. That evening, we followed it up with some croissants and some coffee from the International Cafe, and of course the Coffee Cafe. All right, and then we had dinner that following day in the buffet, and the buffet was really nice. They had such great choices, and you know, just the food was so fresh. But here I have some chicken, and I don't remember what was in that little bowl there, but I just thought it was cute. But it did wind up being delicious. It was some kind of boil. And then, of course, Tony and I do split our sweets, but I just loved this because I've never really eaten anything with cooking gold on it, so it was really just a treat to be able to taste something like that. Okay, so then now the next day, July 6th, we did have lunch in the MDR. It was a lovely experience. We've never really done a lunch in the MDR, but I did start our lunch out with a chilled soup, and I'll be honest, I didn't really care too much for it, but you know, you have to try it. So then at lunch I did have a pork pita, and that was delicious. And for dessert in the MDR for lunch, I had some ice cream, and that I believe was chocolate cookie dough ice cream. All right, and then for dinner, what we did, we went over to the buffet. We grabbed some cheese and some pineapple, you know, just all little favorites before they kick us off the next day. It's always nice to just go grab your favorite, and so that's what we did. And of course they had the scones up at the buffet, so that was a nice little treat. We did get to go to the tea time though twice this time, so that was nice. And then what we did then for dinner after that, after going to the buffet to get our little favorites, we did try the Ernesto Burger that comes from Salty Dog. That's an upcharge over at Salty Dog on the Princess Cruise Line. So this hamburger is made out of ribeye, and it has a jalapeno on it and kimchi. It was something actually that I would have never thought to put together. It was interesting. It was good. I am glad that we tried it. Their fries were good as well. And then our last meal on the Caribbean Princess, of course, was from the International Cafe, and that was the ham and cheese croissants. And of course I wanted to get some last minute coffee, so I finished up my coffee card. Alright guys, so that's everything that I ate on the Caribbean Princess. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Lido Loca, please go hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, so you get those notifications of when we put a new video up. Oh, and don't forget to go over to Facebook and join the Lido Loca cruising community. We have such a great community over there, great time, hashtag LocaFam. And that's it, you guys. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.